Call the Water and
Scared
Sewer
you
District
tonight.
meeting
No.
to order,
No, you gave me a thumbs
December
up.
18th.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes from the December 11th, 2018 meeting.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion, we sign the manifest as presented.
It's just the payroll manifest today. Second,
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye. Chris and I talked about our attire today.
guys look great.
I
Evidently.
think you called ahead.
yeah, it's wool sweater night.
Oh, it's definitely wool sweater.
Yeah, I know, Bobby's got a Colorado Himalayan
Something keeps me warm, that's
Mount
all I know.
Everest.
Ibex out of
I just got
business.
layers.
Ibex, I know it is. This is Ibex under here.
Okay.
Oh, wool just makes me itch.
New business, is there?
No, there is not.
Okay. Old business. 2019 budget finalization, rate consideration, and letter to attendees.
Yep, so the
In what
budget-
order?
The budget is here,
Yes.
and as I was mentioning before you started, Jason had asked me weeks ago to add $10,000 in chemicals to sewer and subtract 10,000 in chemicals for water. And in doing all those budgets we did last week, I didn't have Cindy just like leave that alone, we'll get it later, and then she forgot to get it. So that's been added and subtracted, that's been adjusted in this finalization of the budget. And otherwise, everything is as you decided last week.
And especially small, so it all blends into one.
Yeah, we keep it, try to keep it,
Try to keep those numbers small, right? Yes.
yeah. This is, I've got it as big as I can get it, I think.
Have we heard any more information about trucking costs for RMI, or we're comfortable with that 100K cost?
Yeah, that's
that we-
fine.
Okay.
That will be fine. Yes, I discussed that with Jason afterwards.
Okay,
That will be sufficient.
okay.
And I think we were talking last week about Littleton bringing product to us. That's over. They're back up and running, so, I mean, in terms of trying to anticipate revenues,
Right.
you know,
Right, you can't.
we get it from other people. We get the product to process from others, and we're, you know, we're not charging their decision-making, so
Right.
we're on the receiving end, so to speak.
So one way I can do this.
We first started looking at this probably in October.
Yeah,
So,
nothing's-
so you've seen
nothing's
it.
drastically
Yeah, and then there were
changed.
those bigger decisions you made last week.
Right.
So those all got incorporated,
Mm-hmm.
and then the only other change was the chemicals. Chemicals cost has gone up.
Where are you?
Oh, there's two chemicals, one's in water and one's in sewer.
Man, this could not have been printed any finer, huh?
Well, we could have, actually. I know, I don't like small stuff either, but, let me see. Chemicals for water. No, I'm not gonna be able to find it. We brought chemicals for water down by $10,000. Bless you. And in sewer, we brought it up by 10, based on Jason's request. And they've got cost estimates from the chemical companies. Can't ever find stuff I want.
So is that we're using more chemicals, or the price
The
has
price has
gone
gone
up?
up, yeah. Jason told me about this early in the budget process.
Yeah.
For water, it's fourth up from the bottom on page 2, right above debt service.
And I guess this is kind of right in line with the fact that we have more solids, so
Yeah.
it's because we're producing,
Well, this is
we're
water.
processing.
This is water.
Oh,
And
it's
the
water, of
chemicals
course,
for
yes.
water have been at $25,000 for 3 or 4 years now. So the price hasn't gone up, but apparently it is going up for what we purchased for the water system.
Fourth from bottom on page 2, you sure?
Above where it says
I'm
water
sorry.
operations
Yeah,
total.
this is the total. This now starts sewer, so, well,
Okay.
that's the capital stuff.
Right.
There it is, okay. But it had been at the same budget price of 25,000 for many years. Let me see if I can find the sewer one.
Yeah, so that's a pretty significant increase.
Yes, it is. Treatment chemicals is on page 4, second from the top. And that went from 35 up to 55. And that, some of that will be based on volume, and some of it is,
Wow. It's
Judy
pricey.
knows what we buy for chemicals.
Yep.
But I believe our trusty purchaser for the plant, Fred Yetton, he's got these prices now locked in for what we anticipate having for next year, so they've done their job.
Right. I can't imagine there's too many sources there. I mean, it's not like.
Right, yeah, all of our things are niche market.
Yeah.
So if you are ready to adopt this budget, this is what we bring to the hearing on the 8th.
Do we need a motion to adopt it?
Yeah,
I'll make a motion, we adopt the 2019 proposed budget for water and sewer.
As
So-
presented this evening. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
all right then, so then I would think you would want to look at this
Yeah.
page, because these budgets then, for water and sewer, translate into this set of rates. And let me just walk through this, it's pretty easy to understand, but I've got the proposed budgets up top
Mhm.
we had talked about $200,000 in capital reserve as a savings means. So the numbers, we didn't print this in color, but the more bold numbers include the 200,000. So let's look at those first. On the left, with the $300 annual minimum in water, that translates to a $12.44 per thousand for the overage. And with a lower option for water, if we set the minimum at $250, the rate then becomes $12.97 for the per thousand for anything over 500,000. So, and you can read the rest. The sewer minimum at $500 a year, a year, would translate into $15.06 per thousand over the first 5,000 gallons. And then if we lowered the minimum to $450, the rate would become $15.64. And then on the right, if we put $100,000 less in capital reserve, or just $100,000 even, the rates would be $11.42 for the $300 minimum, $13.91 for the sewer, $500 minimum, and then $11.95 if we lowered the minimum to $250 for water, and $14.49 if we lowered the minimum charge to $450. So,
And remind me of the current.
yes, $8.60 for water
Right.
and $11.77 for sewer. And actually, I have the rate sheets on which these were calculated in front of you, but they're locked in at the 300, 500. I did the variance and then
Right.
put the spreadsheet back where it was. And on the left, somewhere, it should say what the, I have a different copy than you do. On the left, it should say what the current minimum is. And I think yours is back and front, photocopied on back and front.
Yeah, shows right there.
So
This is,
860,
this is all great. I mean, the one question I guess I have in my mind is, if I'm putting on my long-term thinking cap, is that how does the 100 versus 200 impact what our goal is for dealing with? But then again, there's another variable, which is, do we get funding from the state for that project?
For the well,
For the well, yeah.
have you had the conversation with
Eric Law.
how that goes?
I'll tell you, do you want to veer off, or?
It's all kind of related. ultimately.
I did let our consultants know and the manager at RD, Rural Development, know of the board's decision of last week. I can say that there was a great deal of disappointment expressed. Both our engineering consultant and Eric Law, who's the manager of the RD financing, would like to come and speak with the board at some point. Now, I told our engineer the board was not ready for next steps yet. Let us get through this.
Yes.
Let us get through the hearing. You know, you're just digesting what you just did. Just, you know, let it settle. Eric Law, and I don't really want to quote him, but he would like to come and talk with you in several months once this settles. I told him what the board's decision was, and he said, I'm not going to do a thing. In other words, I'm not going to pull your funding. You know you've got 5 years to do this. I'm going to let this settle with your board, and then sometime in 4 or 5 months, 6 months, I'm going to come and meet with them. So that's how that went.
So the funding's available for 5 years? We have 5?
Well, it is. We knew that.
I didn't.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no, the funding's available.
And I'm
for
not sure we made that clear.
Well,
Or do we?
But the practical consideration is we would have to do all that work, so it's not like we can wait 3 or 4 years and then try and get it all done in a
Right,
year.
there's a couple things.
Yeah.
You've got, the obligation sits out there for 5 years. You also have to get the work completed within 5 years.
Right.
But because of the financing piece, we would have to go barreling into this, thinking that we'd get all the work done in a couple, 3 years in order to capitalize on.
That's not-
And
that's not
and that's
feasible.
where you go back to the rates would be XYZ in 2021, 22. So.
Yep.
So that was, you know, and I did ask our engineering consultant, just like, let this settle. The board's not ready to jump right into what do we do? I didn't think that you were anyway. I mean, we still have to finalize this, have a rate hearing, get ready for town meeting.
Right.
You know, if we go with this scheme, and, I mean, you said you weren't going back on the decisions of last week, this year will be a regrouping. Step back.
Well, I think we should kind of pick this apart. You know, the first key issue, just to really clarify, both for the public and for all of us together, is, you know, Judy's suggestion of having this lower minimum rate.
Mm-hmm.
And I want that to be really clear, because it's really important for those in this town who, you know, use the bare minimum and want to keep their rate as low as possible.
Yep. For the folks who you have always looked out for in terms of the minimum, the advice that our office manager gives me is that will help.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're right. You should consider it.
And you're looking at, you know, the impact of lowering that by $50 is, you know, it's
Yeah, it's 50 cents.
About 50 cents.
right, about 50 cents per thousand.
Yes.
So the impact on the average user is a few dollars, or the slightly above average
Yeah, if we
user.
go $10,000, I
Yeah.
mean 10,000 gallons,
Right.
then you know what
Right.
it's gonna average out to
Right.
be. It's $5 a quarter.
Right. Do you have a preference either way, or a feeling either way?
$2.50 a quarter. $2.50 a quarter.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, 5 times 5 is not 5. $2.50.
Yeah.
Is that a motion?
Do we want to pick this motion on this in pieces, or do we want to pick it apart?
As you like.
Yeah.
What we need to do is get something finalized so that we can present it at the rate hearing.
Well, I mean, the
Next
second
meeting,
issue
next
really
meeting.
is the 100,000 versus the 200,000 on
Right,
each
it goes
side.
hand in hand,
Yeah.
for sure.
And,
It's about $1 per
Right,
100,000,
right.
roughly. Closer for water, it's a little more than that for sewer.
I think personally, my inclination would be to do the 200,000 on each side.
I agree.
Yeah, I think if we're not gonna accept the money that we're given, we've gotta save it. So I'd stick with the 200,000.
Now I feel emotion coming on.
So that would mean we would,
What's the minimums right now? It's 170, what, for water? 172 for
One,
water?
yeah, 172.
And,
What is it, 43? No. The, it's 43 times 4 is 172. That's the water minimum.
right, what's our sewer?
All right,
minimum?
it is 62, so it's 125?
No, 62 times 4
Four.
is 2 and change.
About 248.
right.
248, so that's what it is, yeah, 120 and 120
Mhm.
plus 4.
Yeah, 248. So we're talking about going from 420 to either 420 to 800 or 420 to 700. If we use the lower minimum. So it's,
Yeah, I say lower minimum.
that puts more burden on hospital and university and
Right.
so.
Who have an opportunity to conserve because of the change, where the small person does not have an opportunity to conserve because of the change.
And they're probably already conserving the small person.
Right.
Right,
I think that is taken into consideration.
Yes.
Good point.
so lower minimum and 200,000. Is that what I'm hearing?
And the larger units have a way of passing those on to their customers where Mr. and Mrs. Jones don't.
That's right,
Right.
exactly.
Exactly.
Mr. and Mrs. Jones are the customers sometimes, but.
Well, they sometimes are.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean, for sure.
But I want to fill my pool before the rates go.
Fill it, fill it now, Bobby. Put it in the
Divert your
thermal,
gutters.
thermal.
You can start cutting blocks of ice off Squam Lake next month and save them
Save
for
'em.
August, melt them in your pool.
Is there, you should ask for a
So a motion could be the 250 and 450 minimum and the 1297 and 1564.
Okay, I will make a motion that we continue with putting $200,000 in both the water and sewer budget and making our rates $250 for the 5,000 gallon minimum and $12.97 per 1,000 gallon over and for water and $450 annual minimum for sewer and $564 per 1,000 gallons over.
1564.
$15.64.
Right.
So moved.
The only thing that's missing is there was what the 200,000 in each budget was for.
Yeah, no, and I don't know that yet, but it won't change the rates.
No, but what I mean is it going into the capital reserve?
It's going in
Yes.
capital.
Right.
Yes.
Sorry.
For each one.
We don't know where in capital reserve, that's,
No, but just capital reserve? or we
Yes.
could just-
yeah. it
As
would-
long as people
Yes,
understand,
no,
we're
it's going-
saving,
yes.
we're saving for future projects, and that's.
Yeah, and it's in the budget.
Yeah.
It's in the budget in capital reserve, to be deposited into capital reserve. I've asked our superintendent to, let me know where, with this shift in our thinking, does he want it in a different place?
Right.
So we can consult with him, we can come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a town meeting vote anyway, eventually.
Right. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. And then the chairman had asked for a statement which is in front of you, and I don't know if you want to read it into the record. Mr. Chairman, this is a letter that will go to the people who came to our meeting a couple of weeks ago,
Right.
and,
Well, I suppose I could paraphrase this
yeah, you can
for
certainly
the
paraphrase it.
purposes of
For the folks at home.
public tonight.
Yeah,
But we did have a work session last week, and we made the decision to take a very conservative approach. And even though we were offered a lot of money as to offset some of the projects in front of us, we decided that that would just be too much of a definite, defined and long-term burden, so we've chosen not to go forward with all the projects save for one, and that would be the water supply and development project over in Holderness. So one project and one project only we will be moving forward with. And we will be having a budget hearing on January 8th or 9th?
8th,
January 8th.
right at 5:30.
All right. To present the details of the budget
Yep, and the rates.
and the rates, yes.
On 8, I can't believe we're entering the new year. All right, thank you. We'll get this in the mail to the folks that did come to the meeting tomorrow.
Would it be worth it to find a place on our website? For
Yeah, we'll
this
do
one?
that. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll do that. And some of this will go, I've been doing, since I've been here, I've been doing a letter that gets mailed to users in the January billing. Usually it's a highlights update, what are we looking for next year, but I think, I'll try to emphasize that we're having our rates hearing and what, the decisions that were made, and not try to make it a highlights of the year, but a different sort of message, so everyone will get one eventually.
Obviously, this is the key issue that's on everyone's mind. So
Right.
it should be the focus of it.
And the letter is gonna go out in,
Tomorrow. If I could, since we're early,
Yes.
just a couple of things.
I have something too.
Oh, yes.
We will bring both budgets in well under budget. That's good news. I don't have the final expenditures, obviously, but, we will bring things in well under budget.
No pun intended, well under budget.
Yeah.
Fine.
I do want to make you aware, and I don't know the numbers yet, but the board had signed contracts for construction for Pump One, which I don't think there's been a lot of activity because we haven't put it out to bid. That's all designed. But-
right, then we're not moving forward right now, but
Right,
at
but
least we
we
have
had
the
signed a
design.
contract for construction with Wright Pierce, engineering construction, not construction to build it. But on September 4th, we had also executed contracts for Bailey Ave, Langley Park Road, Septage 1A, the well generator, and then, I have to go back in time for this, but we had given Wright Pierce the go-ahead to start to design Main Street, not this year, several years back. So none of the associated appropriations for these have borrowed money, right? Because we wouldn't borrow small chunks to get things going. So once I can amass, I've asked Wright Pierce to figure out what we owe them and bill us now, so we can pay for that in 18 monies. But we need to just be aware that since we're not borrowing the huge bond issue appropriations, these, I want to say smaller amounts of money, but I know Main Street is about $40,000, that we will have to absorb that.
No, we have to pay for them, we signed the contract.
Well, we've already paid, we've already paid for a little bit of it.
Right.
But whatever the recent
Whatever
bill,
the
whatever the
balance
new
is.
billing will be, it's not that I'm worried about paying for it, it's that we will not have an associated revenue, so we will have to pay for it out of our existing budget coffers. See, because we're not going to the bank to get
Right,
$10 million.
No, or we're not going to get the bank to get 10 million, and we're not going to the bank to get the small sums associated. I know what some of the costs are, but I want to get the whole package together, just so we know that we have to, I guess in the vernacular, we have to eat that or squeeze it out of the 18 budget, which we can. I just need you to know about that. 'Cause normally, a lot of times on these projects, we float our own money, float what we have in our accounts,
Working capital.
and thank you, and then we borrow the whole piece so that it all comes out. But we're not going to be borrowing this, so just so you know.
Well, fortunately, at least a good portion of that design work will be usable,
Right.
especially across the street.
Yes, well, that's all been
Yeah.
designed last year.
Right.
Yeah,
But at some point, we have to
right,
do that.
right. And I don't know if you remember, but our engineer was eager to get going, and so he presented these 3 contracts. You approved them, and then he said, "I'm going to have 3 more for you the next week." And I said, "I think you should hold off on those. We're not going to bite off. We need to realize what we're doing and what steps we're going to take forward." So at least we didn't create a worse situation. So I'll get those. We've got Wright Pierce working on that. So
It's the letter of resignation of Jane as
oh
treasurer.
good. You've got to act on that. So
Yes,
right,
You need to act on it, so that's.
right.
that's
So
what
that
is.
we can go to the bank and
Well, I have all the paperwork ready to go with the bank, I just need to have Kathy sign it after you approve that. I couldn't do it till we approved it.
so you just need to formally accept her resignation with regret and good wishes.
Oh, yes, we have a letter from
Jane Clay.
Jane Clay, and she is, as deputy treasurer, resigning, so we thank her for her help, and now we,
You should make a motion. So Bobby needs minutes to go to the
I
bank
need minutes
with.
that have it says.
Make a motion that we accept Jane Clay's,
Susan Jane Clay.
Susan
Oh.
Jane Clay's letter of resignation for her deputy treasurer's position with the district.
Thank you.
I second that.
Effective immediately.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now you can say nice things.
Now I can sign the paperwork.
Now I can
for
sign-
Kathy to get on and.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Now we can,
I appreciate that she stepped up when we needed help.
Yes.
yes.
All right,
Anything else?
I think we can proceed to the holidays now.
So I'm gonna leave this with you
Okay?
and have Kathy come in and sign it. And
Oh, yes,
mail it
okay,
off.
sure.
Okay?
Yep.
And I need to make a copy of this because they didn't provide me with a copy of the payroll sheets.
All right, because we
Yeah.
got payroll done, that was,
No, I
That's
got
the
it.
plus.
No, I understand.
Okay.
I didn't think to ask. you
6
to-
o'clock. Adjourned.